Hi, it is me, little dragon Peppernose. I learned today that some are never old enough to run around in diapers. Oh, before I forget, did you see my videos about my sneezing problem? This story is even more fun if you've seen them first. We were sitting by the fountain talking about Leo and Henry and how silly they can be sometimes. Biggie nodded. It is true, she said. Remember the time that Henry put ink on the teacher's chair? And the poor man had to run around with a big blue spot on the back of his pants? He never noticed, but everybody else did. Little Dragon Peppernose giggled. He thought it was funny to make the teacher run around with a big blue spot on the back of his pants. Biggie looked at him with a frown. It was not funny, it was childish. Little Dragon Peppernose shook his head. I cannot help it. Thinking about that man running around with a big blue spot on his pants, that makes me laugh. Biggie looked at Petra. You think this is funny? She asked her. Petra shook her head. No, it is so childish. Typically, Henry, he should run around in diapers. He has the brain of a 2-year-old. Now Biggie had to laugh. That was funny, Petra. And they all laughed together. Come, let's see if we can find Simon, Biggie said, and stood up. They all agreed and stood up from the side of the fountain. Where does Simon live? Asked Petra, while she tried to dust off her white skirt, looking a bit worried because she could not see how clean it was on the back. Biggie peeked for her and nodded it was okay. Simon lives on the other side of the park where the houses are a bit bigger, Biggie said as they started walking through the park. I never been on that side of the town, Little Dragon Peppernose said. Because everybody was afraid you would set the park and the city on fire? Biggie said with a tease in her voice. She gave him a little push. Little Dragon Peppernose smiled. He felt a bit awkward with a joke like that. He was happy to have friends that he could play and tease with, but jokes about the fire sneezing also gave him a bit of a sad feeling. They got to the other end of the park and left through the iron green gates. Over there, Biggie said. See that house with the red rooftop and the smoking chimney? That is where Simon lives, said Biggie while her finger pointed to a house on the other side of the river. They crossed the road on the crossover near the roundabout to get to the bridge that would take them across the river. Simon's house was just on the other side looking over the river where the boats were floating from left to right and the other way around. We ended up on the side of the river where Simon lived, and we used the steps to get to the front door. The steps had iron handles with curls at the end. Petra rang the doorbell and Simon opened the door. He had his coat on already, like he expected us. In one of the rooms, we could hear his dad shouting something with Simon's name in it. It did not sound very friendly. Simon saw our faces and shrugged his shoulders. My dad is angry again? He said with some sadness in his eyes. He closed the door and we went down the stairs to get onto the sidewalk. I never had seen the river from this side and wanted to enjoy the view of the river with the park on the other side of it. While I was standing still, the rest continued walking and I had to sprint a bit to catch up again. You are so slow, Biggie said teasingly. Yes, I know you could have had breakfast, Petra replied, and we all laughed. Come, let's go the other side through the park, Simon suggested. Well, that was this part of the story. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to know what happens more on my channel, you should become a member, and I let you know when a new video is coming. Before I forget, if you want to read and sneeze with your parents, which could be a lot of fun, you can buy my book at litteddragonpeppernose.com. That is my name with .com at the end. This was my story. I hope to see you with my next video. Bye!